Hey guys, Becky here, FiveTwoBaker, welcome back. So this week we are working on these cute little cherry blossoms. I love them so much, especially because you don't need any cutters or veiners for this. We are going to completely freehand and they're so easy to make. So let's get right to it. Alright, so start off by grabbing some embroidery thread and a very thin wire. I'm using a 32-34 gauge. Just fold it over once, twist the wire to secure it, and snip it off at whatever length you'd like. Then go ahead with a brush or anything you have, loosen those fibers so you have a bunch of center little stamens. Now with a bit of edible glue on the ends of your embroidery thread, go ahead and dip it in some color dust. Mine is a mix of yellow with cornmeal and then just a little bit of red on a few of them just to give it a little bit of different color, and make sure that they don't all stick together because they'll want to. Now with a small amount of flour paste, go ahead and roll it into a teardrop shape and then poke a hole in the center of the larger end of your teardrop shape and cut 5 slits evenly across this. These are going to be your 5 petals. Go ahead and add a bit of cornstarch if it's a little bit sticky so that your petals don't stick to each other. And then I like to lay it across my index finger or my middle finger, and using the larger end of the Dresden tool, I sort of tug and smooth over each end of the petal, so the very far left and far right. And then using the smaller end of my Dresden tool, I go ahead and score the petals so that it looks like it's veined. If doing this doesn't get you that little V shape on the petal that cherry blossoms are known for, then you can go ahead and use the Dresden tool to cut out a little V shape as well. And that's it. You just go ahead and repeat this for all 5 petals until you're happy. Now once I'm done with that, I go ahead and I make sure that my petals are separated again, because making them wider does cause them to stick a little bit at times. So I use my Dresden tool to push down the center, and then I poke a tiny little hole in the center again if I've lost that. And making that center that I made earlier, I go ahead and add some glue to the wire part and I thread it right down the center of my flower, and then go ahead and roll the base of the flower between my fingers, pressing it to the wire so that it's nice and thin and it sticks to the wire. Any excess, if it's too long, I just pinch it off and then just make sure to secure the bottom. With my Dresden tool, I just make any adjustments I need after that. If I want the petals to bend a bit more, or if I've lost any shape, I go ahead and adjust it right now while it's still soft. And there goes one little cherry blossom. Now if you're looking to make little cherry blossom buds, then go ahead and with your thin wire, again a 32-34 gauge, fold it over and grab just the smallest amount of flour paste. Add some edible glue to your wire and pop the flour paste right onto your hooked wire. I like to make it thin at the base and then almost like an oval sort of teardrop shape at the top, and then with a sharp tool I just go ahead and score it up and down at the top to make it look like there are petals that are forming. If I want, I give it a little cut, make sure it's secured to my wire, and that's it. I just pop it over to the side. Now to color my cherry blossoms, once I have enough, the bases I'm going to color a bit green as well as some of the buds. The colors that I'm using here are a bit darker, but you can use any green that you like. And all I do is I start at the base and I fade it towards the top. I want the darkest part to be closest to the stem where it'll be coming out of the branch. And then I just want it to fade away as it gets closer to the petals. The other color that I'll be using is a bright red, and using a very thin brush, I just grab a bit and starting at the very center where all the petals meet, I dab the most on there and then I fade it out towards the outside just so that it has a darker center. And I want the color to fade out and to look more natural. I go ahead and I do that to all of my cherry blossoms that have open petals. Now once all your cherry blossoms are ready, you can go ahead and prop them onto your cake like this, but I wanted to go ahead and make a branch of it. So I grab a carrier wire, and mine is a 20 gauge, and using some brown floral tape, I begin to attach my cherry blossoms to this carrier wire. Cherry blossoms are a little bit clustered, they're a little bit bunched, so I try to do that. I try to add a few in a cluster and then give some space, and then add a few more in a cluster. I have a few separate branches here that I'm combining together so that it's not just one up and down branch, but it has various arms. But again, this is all personal preference and based on what you need. And then finally, I'm going to add some movement to my wires. I don't want them to be stiff and straight. I want them to bend and curve and have movement. I think that's super important for it to look more realistic. And you're all set. Here go 2 of my branches. I think they came out absolutely gorgeous. And that's it, guys. Here they go again. As always, if you found this tutorial helpful, please do give it a thumbs up and don't forget to hit subscribe if you haven't already. I would super appreciate that. And as always, if you have any questions, do drop them down below and I'll make sure to get back to you. If not, I will see you guys for the next tutorial.